Welcome to our show. Today we have a special guest, Del Valor, who is a dating coach and author of the book Inner Game, How to Fix Your Dating Life by Fixing the Relationship You Have with You. Del Valor specializes in helping individuals improve their dating lives by focusing on their dating mindset and inner growth, addressing mental health, self-control, and insecurities that men often experience, and provide practical advice on how to overcome them. It's no secret that dating can sometimes be challenging, and we'll all face various obstacles along the way. However, our guest is here to shed light on how we can navigate these hurdles by nurturing the most important relationship we have, the relationship we have with ourselves. As a coach of marriage, flirting made advice, Dale brings his expertise to advise rank of clients through his practical advice, insightful guidance, and effective strategies. He has assisted men from all walks of life to improve their social interactions and select compatible partners. During our conversation with Dell, we will explore various topics, including self-improvement, mental health, social media, influence, nice guy syndrome, women are more selective, high standards, many insecurities, and effective ways to enhance communication and navigate the challenge with waiting in relationships. It's time to deep into the episode as Dale opens up about his journey, shares valuable tips and techniques from Inner Game, and offers his wisdom on how to navigate the complex world of married dating, whether you are single or in relationship or looking to improve your connection with yourself. This episode is a must listen. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and prepare to be inspired as we embark on the road to the victory with Del Valor. Hello, Del Valor. Welcome to our podcast, The Road to the Victory. Thank you for joining us today. How are you today?
Good, man. Wow, that was a hell of an intro, bro. I
Thank
need
you.
you.
You deserve it.
Look, man, anytime that I do public speaking or anything like that, I need you, Eduardo, to go up, say everything that you just said before I hit the
Yeah,
mic, man. Like, that was dope.
sure.
Hey, listen, bro, I appreciate you having me on. Like, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, man. Like, I've been looking forward to it. And I'm glad to be to be able to sit down with you, man, and
Sure.
kick it and talk
Sure,
about the book and
of course,
a whole bunch of other stuff.
of course. Happy to have you here. It's a pleasure. So let's start. So can you briefly introduce yourself and your background, please?
Yeah, man. So I know time is limited, so I'll give the broad strokes version as opposed excuse me, as opposed to being super detailed. But bottom line is this, man. When I was coming up, I really wasn't very good with dating or relationships or anything like that. Um, never went on a date in high school. You know what I mean? Like I just,
Yeah.
just I don't know, man. Just eluded me for some reason. Well, I started getting into music, and I had a 10-year career as a hip hop artist. I
Oh wow.
eventually ended up signing to a major label. I put out a couple of albums. I've had the opportunity to tour a lot and go around the world doing that. And then but in that time, I had gotten married. Okay, I was about
Oh,
24 at the time, something like that. And fast forward to I got to be 30, 31 years old, something like that. Um, that's kind of when I decided to really get out of music, and start focusing on other things. And at that point, I had been
what?
married for about 6, 7 years or so, something like that. And one day, I'm driving around, right, and
Sure.
I'm hearing an interview on the radio. I like to listen to talk radio, things like that. Maybe that's why I like doing podcasts and
Like
things like that,
podcast.
man. If someone's talking on through a speaker, I'm like, yeah, let me check this out. No
Me
matter what
too.
they're
I'm like
talking
that.
about, I just want to listen. So I'm listening to this interview on the radio,
Yeah.
and it was about like dating and stuff like that. And a lot of the concepts were like really just blowing my mind. But, what am I going to do with that information? It was super interesting to me, but I'm already married. My wife was my second girlfriend. Wasn't like I had this huge like background of dating experience or anything like that. And it was just a really interesting interview. But, I just kind of filed it away in the back of my head because, like, I'm never going to use this information or whatever, but albeit
Yeah. Yeah, you were
super
there.
interesting. So, fast forward
So
about
that,
a month, okay?
yeah.
And my wife, wants to have a conversation with me. We sit down and everything. And she comes out to me as being bisexual, all right?
Oh,
And
that's,
she
yeah.
wanted to explore that side of herself, okay? And we're talking it out. What does that really mean for us? And, like, how are we going to navigate that and all that kind of thing? Well, what happened was, I was okay with her wanting to date women and things like that. I was all right with that. And she was like, well, I don't think it's fair to you that, I get to go out and do my thing. You know,
Sure.
what are you going to do? You're just going to sit at home? Like,
Yeah.
so she was like, it's okay with me if you want to date women, other women, And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, okay, so now I'm like, all right, I got a second lease to be able to have a real dating life, if you will. However, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
So
have to start again. Like,
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And so I get on the computer and I start Googling stuff like, how to talk to women, how to flirt, all these different things,
Mhm.
right? And the thing is that as I'm kind of going through some of the search results, and let me just keep this in mind. This is about 16 years ago. Okay. So at that point in time, YouTube was way new. Like now you can go on YouTube and search out anything and learn how to do it. You want to learn how to go approach a girl, you can find it on YouTube. You want to build a
Yeah,
nuclear
you can
bomb,
find
you
anything.
can figure out how to do it on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want to
Yeah.
do, there's going to be a step-by-step way of going about it. In those days, it was so new. There wasn't anything on there but like cat videos and people doing stupid stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what I ended up finding though in my search results was some of the terminology that I was hearing in that radio interview. And I was like, oh wow, that's what them dudes was talking about. So I click on that and it was a message board. Like a message board and a
What
news
message?
group and things like that were popular back in those days on the internet.
Like a
And
group.
so I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole of
Oh,
getting this information and going out and applying it. However, it was super difficult because like
yeah.
I wasn't that socially savvy. I had a lot of anxiety that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
I was worried about judgment, what people thought of me. I don't want to be labeled as a creep. I don't want to, make anybody feel bad. Like I had a lot of things going on internally that was making it very difficult for me. But nonetheless, I persevered through that and went out and for like 10 years, I was going out by myself, just, whether I would go to the mall or the club or the bar or on the street or wherever and just start talking to people and things like that. It took me about 3 or 4 years to get what I would consider to be really good at that. And then it took me another 5 or 6 years to, finally find a community. A lot of those guys, like, they saw I knew what I was talking about, and so they would come to me for advice and stuff like that. And it started kind of like resonating with me, like, yo, I think I could coach this, you know. So that's what I did. I just started coaching, and then ended up kind of building up a reputation for that, and ended up linking up with one of the top 3 companies in the world that teaches this, and I'm one of the main coaches there now at Modern Success.
Nice background. What would you advise for men to start to become better and build charisma and chemistry with women, and how to like operate well with women, and how to control ourselves to approach women?
All right, so here's the deal, man. First and foremost, like it's very common, for like when I say common, I mean like across the board, pretty much. I'm talking about like every guy pretty much. There's outliers, of course, but 99.9% of guys get nervous when they're thinking about going and talking
Yeah.
to here's this oh so attractive girl. You know what I mean? And they get
Yeah.
nervous. And that's
Yeah.
completely normal and natural. That's okay. What happens is a lot of guys start kicking themselves because they're like, oh, well, I shouldn't be a bitch. You know what I mean? I shouldn't even be nervous. And they're
Yeah.
kicking themselves just for being nervous, you know, let alone not taking the action
Yeah.
to go talk to her. They're kicking themselves just for feeling a certain way. That is completely normal. So here's the deal, man. There's lots of times that we got to do things that are contrary to how we may feel at the time, right? Like, how many times have you,
Yeah. Like
had to go to work when you didn't feel like it, or any number of circumstances, right? Like
Yeah.
where you're like, man, I don't really feel like doing this, but it's got to get done, And so it's the same. The same mindset applies here. It's like, okay, a lot of times guys get into, they start working with a coach, or they start following content of a certain coach
I
or
think
a company or whatever.
people get too much into their heads and they think too much and actually don't act. They just think it. You just
Right.
think too
That,
much.
exactly, man. Exactly.
They know too much in their heads.
Yeah. They get all locked up in their head and don't take the action because they're focused way too much on, well, what if I say something stupid, or what if I scare her somehow, or what if her friends walk up, all these what ifs, right? But the bottom line is this: guys get into following a coach's content or working with a coach because they want to get better with women. But at the end of the day, what they quickly find out is, no, it's really about getting better with yourself. Because look, if you want to know what your insecurities are, if you want to know what your flaws are, go talk to a bunch of women. It will become abundantly clear of the things that you need to work on. You know what I mean? So that's why I wrote the book Inner Game. Is because it's like, look, if the relationship with you suffers, if the relationship with you sucks, like, oh, I don't have any confidence, oh, my self-esteem, like I don't feel good about myself. If that relationship with you is off, how are all the other relationships in your life going to be? You're the common denominator. You're the one that's in every relationship that you're in your life, whether it's with friends, family, a girlfriend, girls that you want to have as a girlfriend, whatever. If those relationships suffer, it's in likelihood because the relationship with you suffers. And so that's why I wrote Inner Game, so is that guys can start realizing you got to start taking some responsibility for yourself and some real responsibility for your own growth.
Yeah,
and to start not having to deal with things like approach anxiety, where you're super nervous because of this girl. No, you just do it anyway, regardless, because it's the right thing to do. Does that make sense?
Would you date yourself?
Yeah.
That's the question you should ask yourself.
That's a great question.
Would you date yourself?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's so funny. Like,
be aware of yourself.
If somebody walked up to you, right? If somebody walked up to you, Eduardo, and was like, said a bunch of stuff to your face that you say to yourself, you'd be like, man, I'm about to fight this dude. Like, how dare you walk up to me and start talking all that bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to handle this right now. But we allow ourselves to say it to ourselves, like all these limiting beliefs and all this, like, oh, you're a loser, or you're whatever, all this negative self-talk. We don't check ourselves on that. We're quick to check somebody else if they come up and say it, but we don't check ourselves. And who's with you more than anybody? You. So, man, and here's another thing too, dude. A lot of times guys, they're afraid to go approach and talk to women at a certain venue or whatever, because they feel like that girl is out of my league. Okay, here's this attractive girl sitting over there. She's out of my league. Man, do I hate that mentality of leagues. Like, dude, You don't know anything about her. Nothing. All you know is what she looks like. That's it. You know,
Yeah.
you don't even know her
Well,
name. You know nothing. She got lucky in the genetic
you know.
gene pool. She hit the lottery with genetics. Fine. What
Yeah.
else? You know what I mean?
What?
And conversely,
Yeah.
she doesn't know anything about you either. Right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. If you know your worth, you know what it is that you
Your
bring to the
value.
table,
Yeah.
you're likely to not put that girl on a pedestal. If you walked into a club, right, and somebody, we'll just say you won a scratch off lottery ticket for $10 million 30 minutes before walking in that club, my hunch is that you're going to be like, man, can't nobody tell me shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the man, you know, like I just won $10 million. You know what I mean? Like, if you want your confidence and your bravado and all that kind of thing is going to be off the charts because you know that you now have $10 million in the bank. Now, I'm not suggesting that you got to have a lot of money or something like that. That's not what I mean. But most guys don't know
Yeah.
their intrinsic value that they bring to the table. And so
Because
I put
we
together
we have our own idea of what value or high value is.
right,
We think the high value is like going to yachts, have a lot of money, or like trips. That what we think of high value. It's actually
right.
the high value
Exactly, man.
is how we
Exactly,
like we
dude.
feel
You
ourselves. Like
yeah,
all
man,
about the
you hit the nail on
internal
the head.
price of what we put ourselves.
Yeah, dude. You hit the nail on the head, man. You know, the thing is that um yeah, is having a lot of money good? Sure. You know what I mean? Like nothing wrong
Sure,
with
sure.
having money or
Everyone
anything
has
like
to.
that. But when you're looking at all these external factors as a benchmark of your own personal worth, man, that's a really man
Yeah,
that's a house of cards. You know what I mean? Because what happens if you lose that money? You know what I mean? So what? You're just now worthless? You know, that's
yeah.
why I put together
No,
an
no, no.
exercise at freegiftfromdale.com. If you go to that website, it's free. I mean, it's in the name,
Okay, good.
freegiftfromdale.com.
Yeah.
You go there, you click the video. There's a whole breakdown on how to really know who you are at the core, how
Mhm.
to know what your intrinsic value that you bring to the table is. Because look, man, most guys, they do not know who they are or what they're really about. They have
Yeah.
a vague idea. Like for instance, if you got a really good sense of humor and people are always telling you that you're funny, okay? You know that okay, I've got a good sense of humor and I'm a funny guy. What else? You know, what else about you? Because you're not one dimensional. There's all kinds of facets to your personality, the characteristics that you embody, the ideology and worldview that you have. There's all kinds of facets to these things. It's not that you're just funny guy and that's it. You know, I say this all the time, man. A guy who knows
What?
who he is and knows what he
Yeah.
wants is a dangerous guy.
What advice? Yeah. What advice would you give to men to start being better? Like
Okay, the
to
first thing that I would start with to
get
start
more
becoming better is
confidence.
know who
Like
you are. You know, if you know, like, again,
is
if you
know
know
who you
who
are.
you are and you know
And
what you want, you're a dangerous dude. Unfortunately, most guys don't know either. Okay, so think of it like this. Think of it like this, Eduardo.
yeah.
Um, say for instance, like right now, my house is up for sale, and that's the truth. This isn't even a hypothetical. Like my house is up for sale. I'm going to be moving soon. Okay, it would it would probably behoove me to be able to know what my house is approximately worth, right? Because what if I have a $200,000 home and I price it for $500,000? One, nobody's going to put an
Yeah.
offer in on it. Two, nobody's probably even going to come see it, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I have a $200,000 house and I price it at $100,000, I'll get all kinds of offers. I'll have all kinds of people that want to come see it, but I'm shortchanging myself, right? Because what am I doing? I'm giving my house away for less than really what it's worth, you know? So by you knowing who you are, by you knowing the lifestyle that you want and the lifestyle that you lead, you knowing your intrinsic value, now comes the second part of it. What is it that you want? You know, like what I mean,
Yes, what do you
when
want?
I
Yeah,
ask somebody
figure
what
out
they
what.
want, usually what they tell me is some type of like knee jerk reaction that, just kind of sounds good. It's not really what they want. They're just kind of telling me something that they think I want to hear. And that's a faulty mindset, man, because if you're out here just doing what, suggesting you want things that you think other people want you to have, you're not leading your own life. You know, you
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
get the, you need to start like attracting the types of women that make sense for you and your lifestyle. If you're the type of guy who's an introverted guy, okay, and
Yeah.
you like to, do things at home, you don't like to go out and party and things like that, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that, okay? But why would you be trying to date a girl that's what she's exactly about, is going out and partying? It's not a match. You know what I
She
mean?
has she has probably more options than you. Probably she has
Well, she
options.
maybe so, but even if, regardless of the options that she has, what about the options that you have?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense to get to have options of the types of women that actually complement your lifestyle as opposed to being in contrast to it? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes way more sense. It's like this. I used to be in real estate years ago. Okay. And one of the things that I would always tell people, it's like, okay, you have a pre-approval, you can buy a house for $400,000. That doesn't mean that you have to spend $400,000. Like, if you're the type of person who likes to go on, 4 cruises a year, and you like to go out and do things, is by you buying a $400,000 house, is that going to take away from you being able to do that? Because all your money is now wrapped up in this house. And then if you do that, come 6 months down the road when you're itching to go on a vacation and you can't do it because you can't afford it, now that oh so nice house that you wanted is nothing more than a big albatross around your neck, keeping you from doing the things that you want to do. So that's what I mean. Like, if your lifestyles aren't compatible, why are you're just making headaches for yourself? So get, first and foremost, get dialed in on who you are. Second to that, get dialed in on what you want. Man, I tell guys all the time, build out an avatar of the type of woman that you want to attract into your life. What does she look like? What is her personality like? What are her interests? How does she present herself? What's her family life like? All these different facets that are important. What makes sense for you? So now that you have that avatar comes the third part, going out and communicating these things.
Sure.
Because once you know the type of woman that you want to have in your
Do you
life,
like?
now you can go to the places that those types of women exist. And you can start talking
Yeah.
to them, and hopefully start setting up some dates and things like that. And, but that's really it. That's where I would start, is those 3 things. Does
What
that
would
make
you
sense?
advise to men we can attract more women? How can I attract more
Okay,
women?
so if you want to attract more women, you gotta be the guy that women want to be around. Okay, so here's the deal, man.
Yeah.
A lot of times you
What?
hear it. What's that?
That's a big question. What? That's a big
Yeah, I know, right?
question. What women's like? That's
Okay, so look,
crazy.
a lot of times guys see advice in, on social media, or whatever content they consume, where it's like, oh, well, you got to be like, you got to be a stoic guy. You got to be,
Yeah. They wanna
Billy
show.
Badass tough guy, and just play the wall and stand there and look cool. I got news for you. Women don't want to be
Yeah.
around that guy, because that guy
Yeah.
is no fun. if you want more women to be in your life, two things: be a guy that's fun to be around. That doesn't mean, by the way, that you got to be wacky, that you got to be like a dancing monkey. You know what I mean? You just got to be fun and engaging and things like that. And women want to be around that guy. Look, when I go to a club, I see two types of guys. I see the guys that aren't doing anything and just kind of playing the wall, and there's never any women around them. And then I see guys on the dance floor having the time of their life, and that's where all the women are, around them. You know? So what that tells me is, be the guy that's just fun and free and loose and not so serious and things like that. Here's the second part of that. I always advocate, having a strong social circle. Okay. So a lot of times, again, you hear this advice. Oh, don't be, you can't be friends with women. Don't be friends with them. If they don't want to date you, then just, block them and never talk to them again and things like that. No. Because look, that girl, she has friends. You know what I'm saying? She knows other people.
Yeah.
And so what I'm looking to do is coordinate events to go out and do with a gang of people I know, which she's going to invite friends to. If I'm going to have a cookout at my house, I'm inviting everybody, because I want to see who they bring. And by the way, that makes me the guy that's kind of the straw that stirs the drink. I'm the connection point. I'm the guy that if anybody comes to my cookout, they got to come talk to me. You know what I mean? These are people I'm going to get to know. And my reach just gets further and further and further. Because as that happens, I get to know more people, and by extension, get to know their people. And so that's the way that you become a guy that starts attracting more women into their life, because they're a fun guy to be around, and they've always got something going on. They've always got a fun event to go to. They've always got a concert that they're going to, or whatever, So it adds a little bit of adventure to people's lives. People are looking to break out of the mundane. People are looking to have some thrills and adventure in their life. If you can provide that, you're the guy that people want to be around.
We have this misconception that women like bad guys, and why being nice doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not that you have to be a bad person or a bad guy. Like me, I'm one of the nicest guys that anybody could meet. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of, I'm legitimately kind to people. I go out of my way to help people and things like that when I can. The difference is, I don't let myself get taken advantage of.
I think it's about
I don't let people walk all over me. I set firm boundaries with people, and look, why is it that women are attracted to the quote unquote bad boy? One, it's because that bad boy is not afraid to express himself. He's not afraid to say, this is who I am. I'm not changing for anyone. This is me. You can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Okay. Second to that, the bad boy is not afraid to set boundaries. The bad boy says, look, I don't like what you're doing here. Knock it off and don't let it happen again. Thirdly, the bad boy, he's not afraid to live outside the bounds of conventional society, in the sense of, society dictates that you shouldn't do this. The bad boy's like, well, I don't really care. I'm going to do what I want. You know what I mean? And so if you, as an individual, you don't have to be a criminal. I don't have to go to jail to get a girlfriend. You know what I mean? I don't have to have a bunch of felonies, to be attractive. No, all I got to do is embody those aspects of the bad boy. I could still be a good person as long as I'm not afraid to, I'm not gonna sell myself out. I'm gonna be who I legitimately am at the core, and be unapologetic about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to set boundaries with people and enforce those boundaries. I'm not afraid to live outside societal norms. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody.
I think it's all about self-respect.
Yeah,
I
man.
think it's all about self-respect, and and know your value and know what you bring to the
Yeah,
table, what concept you have to yourself. Like, don't let people
yeah,
to
yeah,
step to
man.
you.
I mean, if you don't respect your, yeah, dude, if you don't respect yourself, how can you
Yeah,
expect anybody else to respect you? I mean, it's simple as that,
yeah.
really. You know, like
One
you,
second.
and what does the bad boy? What does the bad boy have? The bad boy has self-respect. He respects himself more than anything else. You know what I mean? And that's an attractive
That's to
quality to
self.
women. You know, and so look, you know,
Yeah,
the quote unquote nice guy, on the other hand, this is a guy who, generally
yeah.
speaking,
Know
you
about the
know,
nice guy.
he's giving to get. You know, like, I'm not going to tell you what I
Yeah,
actually think. I'm not going to tell you what I actually want. I'm going to do whatever it is that you need me to do in hopes that you just kind of pick up on, you know, because I don't want to offend you. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And like that's weak. It comes across as placating. It's putting women on a pedestal that they don't want to be on.
on
Now, every
pedestal.
once in a while, there's a girl who has a princess complex or something like that. But most women, generally speaking, most healthy, mentally healthy women don't want to be on a pedestal. They're not looking to have a servant as a significant other. You know, they want to have somebody that they can respect, somebody that they can trust, somebody that knows that they know that that person that they're with is going to go out there and handle business, get things
And
done. You know,
protect
like
her, protect her, right?
that's what they want. They don't want a guy that's like, "Oh, you're so pretty. Can I please have a scrap of your time?" Like, come on, man. You know, no girl wants
Uh,
that. That's just
don't
so
beg,
weak, you know?
like begging, like begging.
Yeah, it's like a
Don't
dog
beg.
begging for scraps. You know what I mean? You might even like that dog. You know, like you got a dog and he's begging for table scraps. You might like that dog, but you're not going to be able to. You don't respect and trust that dog to do, you know, like people stuff. You know what I mean? Because he's a dog. You know what I mean? So you can't have that expectation, and that girl isn't going to have the, you know, like real man expectations of a guy that comes across as weak and placating and, you know, just being overly sweet and sensitive and all that kind of stuff. And there's a time and a place for being sensitive. There's a time and a place for being sweet and all that kind of stuff. But it can't be all the time. It can't be
All the
that's what
time.
you're known for, is just doling out these, compliments nonstop. No woman wants that. It's just not attractive.
How can men overcome the fear of rejection and approach potential partners?
Okay, that's a really good question, man. Really good question. So, look, you know, here's the deal, man. You know, like what I was talking about with the intrinsic value exercise, that free gift from Dale.com. If you know your value, you know, and like if I know what I'm worth, right? And I'm talking to this girl and she just doesn't see the value, you know what I mean? She just doesn't get it, you know? Like it boils down to two things. It could either be I'm not communicating it well. It could be that, you know what I mean? Something to be said for communicating it for sure. Or it could be she just doesn't understand what value is. Okay? So we'll assume that she doesn't understand what value is. Well, if she doesn't understand what
Yeah.
it is and she doesn't get it, and she quote unquote rejects me, well, I'm more like, girl, you fucked up. You know, like you kind of missed out. You know, like, well, I guess, you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't affect me like that because I know what I'm worth. You know what I mean? Like, you don't. If she
Know
doesn't
your
want it,
value.
all right, that's fine.
I
Because
think
homegirl over here will.
we have to
You
think
know.
from the mind of we have to think from the mind we have a lot, like from the perspective of, like abundance mind. Like, we can find another girl. If this reject
Yeah,
me, I
yeah.
can find
That's
another one.
that's
And
having an
then
abundant
if this reject
mindset.
me, and not have this scarcity mind.
Exactly, man. Exactly. You know, and here's another thing too. Um, if a girl rejects you, she's not rejecting you. She don't even know you. She doesn't even know what to reject. All she knows, this is all she knows, okay? Say for instance, let me set a scene here. Here's Eduardo. Eduardo's at the bar, okay? Eduardo sees this girl over here, and you go over there, you go to start talking to her, okay? And she's just like, oh, hey, it's girls' night out, we're not really trying to talk to anybody like that. Have a good night, but we're not interested, okay? So you got rejected, okay?
Yeah.
Now, they don't know shit about you. Nothing. They don't know a goddamn thing about you, And so all they know is the way that you presented yourself and whatever you said when you walked up. That's it. That's all they know. Okay? They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting your approach. They're rejecting the way that you tried to communicate yourself. Okay? That can be worked on.
You
It's
also
not
talk about body
you.
language.
Like we as human beings, we are not our actions. Okay, like how many times, and this is and I'm not trying to put you on Front Street or anything, but like here's the deal: how many times in your life have you done something where you looked at it when you did it and you were like, man, that wasn't even, I don't even know why I did that. I'm not that type of person. You know what I mean? Like, why did I do that? And you feel guilty,
Many
right?
times.
Because you're like, man, I shouldn't
Many
have done
times.
that. Like that's not even me. And that's everybody's experience. Like the way that I like to put it is like this, man. Even serial killers hold the door open for old ladies. Now to that old lady, she doesn't know he's a serial killer. She thinks he's a nice man that just happened to open the door for her. To the person he's murdering, yeah, not such a nice guy. You know what I mean? So our actions, we have a culmination of all kinds of different actions, none of which is us, right? So what we do can be worked on, which is why I work with guys all the time on this very thing, And then lastly, with rejection, man, like I put it like this, dude, I never get rejected, okay? And here's why I can say that, all right? And it's not to suggest that every woman that I talk to wants to go out with me, because that would be ridiculous. That's nobody's experience. You know what I mean? Like anybody who says that's lying to me. Okay. Of course, I've had many women who didn't I didn't resonate with them. Okay. Like it's happened many, many times. All right. So here's the thing. I don't look at that as being rejected. First and foremost, when I'm walking up to a girl, all I'm trying to do is give value. That's it. Okay? I'm not trying to pick her up. I'm not trying to flirt with her. Not until I know who she is. All I know is that she looks attractive. That's it. I don't know anything else about her. So I'm going there to screen, to give value and screen to see if she fits my criteria. Guess what part of my criteria is? Oh, I don't know. Women that actually want to be with me? What? Part of my criteria. If she doesn't want to be with me, then she doesn't meet that criteria. So she didn't reject me. I actually rejected her. So yeah, man, to me, that's the way you deal with rejection. Stop looking at it. This is the pitfall so many guys fall into, is that, I guess I don't measure up. I guess I'm not good enough. It's nonsense.
Yeah, that's great. That's you talk
Make
about
sense?
not making a big deal, like not to take a big deal. To make if you get rejected, don't make a big deal. It's okay. You can keep trying. Actually, the more you try,
yes,
the more you approach to the woman and you try and try. So actually, it's like practice, and this is more practice and other stuff. Like
yeah, dude. I mean, look, man. Guys take it way too serious. Think about it like this. Like if say you got any you got like a little sister or anything like that, or a little cousin that's a kid, a kid. Yeah. Now imagine if one of those little cousins ran up to you and was like, "Eduardo, you're so ugly," and then they run off, right? You're gonna be like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, You're not
Yeah.
going to be mad.
It's a,
You know, it's like it's a little kid. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to be upset about that. You just be like, what a little brat, you know? Now, why
Mhm.
is it that, okay, here's this woman that you don't know. She doesn't want to be with you. Okay, fine. Why are you letting her influence how you feel about yourself? Again, a woman you don't know,
Yeah. Why?
have never met before, will never see again, but yet she holds all the power about how you feel about yourself and how the rest of your night, the rest of your weekend, the rest of your week, the rest of your month, the rest of your year is going to go for you. Why are you giving her all that power over your life? You're giving it to somebody you don't even know and will never see again, most likely. But guys are
Yeah.
so willing to do that. Man, I talk to guys all the time. They're like, yeah, man, you know, I got rejected by this girl like 4 years ago. And so, you know, all women hate me. It's like, what? You got rejected 4 years ago, and that woman has held all that power over you for 4 years? That's crazy to me. Who is she to dictate to you how you should feel about yourself? It's like, come on. And I'm not even blaming the woman. I'm telling the guy, like, you're doing this to yourself. You're letting her have this power that she doesn't even want, by the way. You know what I mean? You're just letting her hold all the cards and tell you who you are, tell you what you're worth. It's like, man, that sucks, man. Like, start owning your own power. Have agency over yourself and how you feel about yourself. You don't like yourself, start working on yourself. You want
Worry
higher
yourself.
self-esteem, do esteemable acts, you know? Like, that's how you start feeling better about yourself.
People don't realize that you can change yourself. You cannot change
Yes.
another people, but you can change yourself and improve. You don't have the qualities.
Yeah,
Probably you don't have the
100%, man.
qualities, but you can
And,
develop
and
them.
you know what? Like, sometimes you hear the accusation online, like, oh, people never change. You know, people, they're just the same with different masks
Yeah.
and things like that, you know? And I say that's
Yeah.
bullshit, man. Yeah, and you know how I know? Let me ask you, how old are you, Eduardo?
Oh, you know.
How old?
I'm 30.
You're
I'm
30.
30. Yeah.
Right. I got you. I got you. All right. Were you the same person that you are right now, sitting in your chair talking to me? Were you the same person 10 years ago as you are right
No.
now?
No. Not at all.
No,
Not at all.
you're not.
Not at all. I
Were
improve
you the
myself.
same person at
I
10
work on
years
myself.
old?
In no.
Right. Were you the same
No.
person at 10 years old as you were at 20? No. You were a child
No.
when you were 10. You know what I mean? Were you the same person at 1 years old as you were at 10? No. We change and evolve all the time. But the difference is that what most people don't understand is we have the power. This is so dope, man. This is so cool what I'm about to say. Okay. We literally have the power to change into whatever it is that we want. We
Yeah.
literally
This
have
comes
that
to
ability.
that. This comes from what qualities women's like, and then when you get to what qualities women want, and you can become that and develop that qualities,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Look, if you're the type of guy who's not assertive, right, in your own life, you just kind of roll with the punches, go with the flow. You have the agency to start being assertive. Like, nowhere else in nature can an animal evolve into something else that it's not supposed to. Okay? Meaning, you know, a caterpillar can only turn into a butterfly. A caterpillar can't go into its cocoon and jump out of there as a dog. You know what I mean? It can
Yeah.
only be a butterfly, right? It's assigned what that transformation is going to be. We as people have the power to transform into the type of person that we want to actually be. Now, I'm not suggesting that it doesn't take work. I'm not suggesting that it's easy. But what I am suggesting is that it's doable. And if you want it bad enough, if you're tired of living the type of lifestyle and the type of life that you've had up until this point, there's so many ways that you can start working on that. And that's why I'm always telling people, go to freegiftfromdale.com so they can download the first chapter of my book and do the intrinsic value exercise so you can really know who you are, so you know that baseline and you can start improving and working on it. You know what I mean? Say it one
Introduce
more
us
time.
to intrinsic values. You talk about intrinsic values. Can you introduce us
Oh,
to
yeah.
intrinsic
Yep.
values?
Okay. All right. So intrinsic values are the characteristics, qualities, personality traits that we respect and like about ourselves. You know, so meaning, like for instance, say you're a hardworking dude. Like you really get it in. Like you work really hard to accomplish your goals. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an intrinsic value. So that would speak to who you are as an individual. Okay, now we'll say on top of that, you're also, not only are you a hardworking dude, but we'll say that you're a very charitable type of person. Okay, cool. You're a hardworking guy that's charitable. So you sometimes you give away your time, or if you can donate a little money to something, or whatever the case might be. Then we'll say you're also a funny guy. You got a really good sense of humor. Okay, that's an intrinsic value as well. And each person, man, like every time that I have somebody do the exercise, it's on freegiftfromdale.com. Every time, like, look, here's the deal. People generally come up with about 20 to 30 things about themselves that are very eye-opening. And those 20 to 30 qualities that they embody, guess what? They're the only person on planet Earth with that list of qualities in that specific order. It would be a statistical anomaly for anybody else to have it. We're talking 1 in trillions to have the same 30 things in the same exact order. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. So those intrinsic values, it's the same thing as a DNA code. It's the same thing as your thumbprint. It's who you are, man.
What strategies can men use to overcome insecurities?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, man. Because look, I'll give you a quick story. Okay, so
Sure.
I was never like club guy growing up. I didn't go to the club to go dancing or anything like that. I was just never that dude. Okay, but now follow me here. The first time I went to a club, all right, I was like working on the skill set of being able to communicate with women and things like that. And I knew that I needed to get over being nervous about going to a club, because there's, a gang of women there, and I could have a lot of conversations and things like that. But so I needed to get over this. I was very insecure about going to a club. My only frame of reference of what clubs were like was stuff that I had seen in movies and on TV shows. So I had this built up narrative in my head as to what it's like. And that seemed intimidating to me. Okay. So it was a big insecurity that I had. The first time I was like, okay, this is it. I'm nervous as hell, but I'm going to go. I drove right past the club. I was like, nope. Okay.
Wow.
The second time
You didn't go
I went
in?
Yeah, dude, I didn't even go in. I didn't even stop. I drove. I got scared and I drove right past it. All right. The second time, I stopped. I parked my car. I didn't get out of my car. I just started it back up again, backed out, and drove away. Okay. The third time, I walked. I parked. I walked past the club. But I didn't go in it. I just kept walking. All right. The fourth time, I actually went inside. Okay. I didn't talk to anybody. I went in. I got like a drink of water or something, looked around, and walked right back out. The fifth time, okay, is when it kind of stuck. And I started because now that I had been in one time before, at least I knew what it looked like and I kind of knew what to expect, you know. The fifth time is when I actually started talking to people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so it took me 5 times to go to a club like that. Now, going to a club still isn't really my thing. It's just not like something that's like, oh man, it's Friday night. Like I need to get out to the club. Like it's still not really my thing. But when I do go, you would never know that it's not my thing because I'm super comfortable now. You know what I mean? Like I know what to expect. I know what to do. I'm good. You know what I mean? And so I go there. I have a good time and all that kind of stuff. But that was an insecurity that I had to get over. You know, an insecurity such as, you know, something like just walking up and talking to a girl. You know, like I'm insecure about myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. So the way that you start combating insecurities like that, you know, that you're scared to do something or whatever, small chunk it. You know, like, hey, look, it took me 5 or 6 times to go to the club before I actually did anything in the club. Okay. But I did it, you know, and had I not done
Practice.
it, in likelihood, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here talking with you right now. I would have gave up, you know? So, you know, like start small chunking it. You don't have to, you know, like if say an insecurity is like, oh, well, you know, like I'm insecure about the fact that maybe my physique isn't where I would like it to be, and that makes me insecure. Okay, cool. Start going to the gym. Don't expect results tomorrow. Just start and do what you can, you know? And then at a certain point, that physique is gonna fill out. If you stick with it, have a good diet, good workout program, and get in there, you know, and before you know it, you'll be good. But it's not gonna be overnight. It's gonna take time, you know? Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. How can someone break through self-limiting beliefs and open themselves up to new possibilities in love?
Okay, so understand that there with limiting beliefs are usually
Yeah.
held on to because we're scared about something. You know, I'm whatever. I'm too short.
That's
I'm too fat. I'm
the
too white.
insecurity. Our
I'm
insecurity,
too
right?
whatever. Yeah, and then those are all limiting beliefs. I can't do this
Yeah.
because of whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, how many people have done exactly what it is that you want to do that has that same thing? You know what I mean? That same roadblock that you have. Tons. You know, like, man, it always grinds my gears, man, when I hear guys that are short, who are like, well, you know, I can't get a date because I'm short. No, you can't get a date because you don't know what you're doing. That's why. It's not. It has nothing to do with you being
right.
short. Because I've worked. I got 200 guys in my program that I work with. Do you think they're all 6 feet tall? They're not.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's one guy that comes to mind. Not gonna say his name, but this guy, I mean, he's literally 5 feet tall. Like he's like super tiny dude, and he's like really frail. You know, like he had some health issues when he was born and stuff like that. So he's only 5 feet tall, and he's probably 90 pounds.
Oh, that's
You know, and that dude kills it. He kills it. He like, you know what I mean? So you can't tell me that because you're short, you can't do well. No, that's ridiculous. You can't do well because you think you can't do well. You know, that's really what
it's
it boils
yourself.
down to. Yes,
It's yourself,
100%.
right?
Now, will you do as well as somebody else? Maybe, maybe not. But that doesn't matter. And that's the other thing I see guys doing all the time. Well, I see other guys that are doing this and this and this. And it's like, dude, they're not you. Stop comparing yourself to other people because you don't know their story. You don't know their background. You don't know anything. You know, so all you can do is compare yourself with yourself, be better tomorrow than you are today, and that's progress.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when I couldn't talk to anybody. publicly, you know, like out and about. Now I'm a fucking social butterfly, you know. I had to start, dude, this is gonna blow your mind. I literally started being able to learn how to talk to people in public settings by asking
How?
people at the grocery store where the soup aisle is. That's where I started, because that
How was
that
it?
that was the
How was the
most comfortable
experience?
thing for me. And then I just started
Yeah.
building on that. You know what I mean? As I got more comfortable with that, okay, let me just only ask women where the soup aisle is. Okay,
That's
now
a good
now that I'm comfortable,
strategy.
let me only ask attractive women where the soup aisle is. You know? And so like I just kept building on that so till I started feeling more socially comfortable.
Cool. What what advice do you have for someone who feels discourages and lose hope on finding love?
Well, the first thing I would say is, and I get that, um, you know, that it can be frustrating and all these
Yeah.
things, you know, like I do understand that. But what I would suggest is stop looking for love and start looking for what can you do differently to start being around and communicating with attractive women, or at least women that are attractive to you, and just start working towards being able to get dates. There's a guy that he's in my Facebook group that he's always asking all these questions that are like 1,000 miles down the road. You know what I mean? Like it's like, dude,
What kind of questions? I'm sorry.
yeah, like questions like, you know, I'm worried that after 10 years of marriage that my wife will cheat on me. It's like, dude, you're not even
Oh,
going on dates, man. Why are you
you're
worried
not
about a
even married.
wife being married for 10
Wow.
years and her cheating on you? You know, like
So ahead.
start being more relevant to today's problems. Start tackling those. That's like saying, all right, Eduardo, we're going to go on a road trip. All right. And you're like, Dale, but you watch out, Dale. Watch out, Dale. There's danger up ahead. And I'm like, what's up ahead? And you're like, yeah, 1,000 miles from now, there's a bridge out. I'm like, 1,000 miles from now? Like, you know, like, yeah, okay, cool. Tell me there's a
Not
bridge out
even
when
in the
we're like
bike.
2 miles from it, you know, not 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, no
Yeah.
reason to freak out. Like, we're 2 days away from that
No
bridge. You
reason
know
to
what I
freak out.
mean? So that's what I'm saying is start, instead of looking at I call it a macro goal. The main goal, I'm trying to find love. Okay, cool. Put that on the back burner. Start focusing on the micro goals. You know, if you can't find love in the here and now,
So
what can you do? Oh, well, I can go out. I can talk to people. Great. Start there. Make the next goal like, okay, I'm going to start getting some girls' phone numbers and Instagrams and then following up with them. Great. Super attainable goal. Because you're not going to get that love from somebody until you can learn how to like talk to them and date and things like that. So you're not going to jump from here all the way up here. Why not climb the ladder? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, little by
Start
little.
knocking off whatever goal is in front of you, just knock that down first. Don't worry about the 6 goals from now, you know? So that would be my recommendation there. Quick, if any of your listeners, if what we're talking about resonates, okay, go to freegiftfromdale.com. Check out the first chapter of my book.
Sure.
Check out that intrinsic value exercise to know who you are. And then let's have a conversation about it. Let's have a conversation for you to start accomplishing these
Sure.
goals, for you to start living the type of lifestyle that you
Sure.
want to have. I want to have that conversation with you. So go there, check that out. And
Sure.
I hope to be talking to, your listeners very soon. That'd be super dope.
Thank you. We are incredibly grateful to have you as a guest on our podcast, The Road to the Victory. Your expertise and insights as a dating coach have brought immense value to our listeners. Your passion and dedication to helping others navigate the often complex world of dating is truly inspiring. The wisdom and guidance you share during our conversation will, will do undoubtedly bring positive transformation to many lives as we build Farewell for now. We want to express our deepest gratitude for your presence in our podcast, your expertise and authenticity, and your genuine desire to create meaningful connections will continue to have a lasting impact. We wish you to continue to succeed in your endeavors, both personally and professionally. May your journey be filled with joy, fulfillment, and abundance love until our paths cross again. Thank you for being an integral part of the road to the victory.